What if, what if from the moment you were born to like your very last breath, you never actually moved?
Oh, wow. Yeah, starting right at the deep end.
Right. But seriously, what if everything you think you know about your life? I mean, the whole idea that yesterday is gone, that tomorrow doesn't even exist yet, and you're just, surfing on this tiny fleeting wave that we call the present. What
Yeah.
if all of that is just a complete biological illusion?
It's a massive, almost kind of jarring shift in perspective. But according to some of the most profound physics of our time, that forward march of time is really just a trick. It's a trick our neurology plays on us just so we can process information.
Like a survival mechanism.
Exactly. We track movement and change to survive, right? So we experience life sequentially. But
Wow.
physics paints this much colder, much grander picture of reality.
Yeah. And that is exactly why we're here today. Welcome to this deep dive. Our mission today is to basically fundamentally shatter and then hopefully rebuild how you perceive time and space.
Best of luck to all of us on that one. Seriously. We are plunging into a really fascinating stack of research today, all about the fourth dimension, Albert Einstein's concept of the block universe, which is also known as eternalism. And we're looking at how this mind-bending data from the James Webb Space Telescope is actually like providing visual evidence for these theories.
Which is just incredible to even think about.
It really is. And by the end of this conversation, you, the listener, you're no longer going to see yourself as a person just kind of passing through time. You're going to see yourself as a fixed, permanent, cosmic monument.
A permanent sculpture. I love that.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand what the James Webb Telescope is actually capturing out there in the dark, we first have to fundamentally redefine what time actually is according to physics.
Yeah, we have to totally step outside the limitations of our normal three-dimensional world.
Which is hard to do.
Very hard. Because in a 3D environment, we are restricted by what physicists call our scale of perspective. It's incredibly narrow. It forces us to process reality just one single slice at a time.
Just the present. Right, just the present. But if you were to somehow zoom out, right, and look at reality from a 4D perspective, time doesn't flow.
It's not a river.
No, not at all. It isn't a ticking clock. It isn't a sequence of events. Time is a literal, physical, spatial dimension.
Okay, wait, spatial, like left and right?
Exactly. Just like you can walk forward and backward in a room, time in a 4D universe is a landscape that is already entirely laid out.
Wow.
So the past, the present, and the future, they all exist simultaneously in one massive, totally unmoving structure.
Okay, so the sources have this brilliant analogy for this that made the concept so much easier for me to visualize.
Oh, the film strip.
Yes, the movie film strip. So think of a physical movie film strip. When you're sitting in a theater watching a movie, you only see one single frame at a time flashing up there on the screen.
Right.
And that one frame, that's your present. And because you're literally trapped inside the viewing experience of the theater, you can't see the previous scene, and you obviously can't see the climax of the movie yet.
Because it hasn't passed through the projector.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you take that physical film strip out of the projector and you walk outside and lay it completely flat on the ground, the entire nature of the movie completely changes.
Yeah, your scale of perspective expands.
Right. Now, the opening credits, the middle of the story, the final scene, they're all already printed, and they all physically exist at the exact same time. If you have a wide enough scale of perspective to just look at the whole strip laid out on the floor, you see the beginning and the end simultaneously.
And in that wider scenario, the film strip isn't doing anything. It isn't performing the movie.
It's just sitting there.
It just is. It exists as a complete, unmoving object. Every event that has ever happened or ever will happen is just permanently embedded right there in that structure.
Okay, I have to push back on this, though, because this is where my brain starts to totally rebel and the existential dread, really kicks in.
I was wondering when we'd hit the existential dread.
It didn't take long, because if the whole film strip of the universe is already printed,
Yeah.
right, and it is completely unmoving, doesn't that just completely destroy the concept of free will? Why did I even bother making coffee this morning if my action of making coffee was already permanently carved into the end of the film strip? Doesn't this mean motion and choice are just total illusions?
Well, that friction you're feeling, that resistance, that is the absolute crux of the block universe theory.
There is an illusion.
In a 4D space-time model, yes, motion is a complete illusion. Nothing is actually moving or changing.
That's so hard to accept.
I know. But think about it. The cup of coffee, your hand reaching for it, the steam rising from the mug, all of those are just static frames stacked right next to each other in the fourth dimension.
Just printed on the strip.
Exactly.
Hmm.
What you perceive as time passing or things moving is simply your localized 3D consciousness dragging its focus along a static pre-existing path.
So I'm just reading the strip.
Right. You are misunderstanding your cognitive journey through a totally static road as time flowing. You feel like you're making a choice in the present, but from a 4D perspective, that choice, the action you take, and the consequence of it, they're all coexisting structures.
That is wildly unsettling, but also kind of fascinating.
It's both.
So, okay, if time is an actual physical dimension and motion is just this neurological illusion, how does a physical object actually look in this 4D space?
Okay, good question. Let's scale it up.
Yeah, let's take something massive like a planet. If I look at Jupiter in our standard 3D perspective, it's a giant gas sphere orbiting a star. What does Jupiter physically look like in 4D?
Well, it wouldn't resemble a sphere in the slightest.
Really? Not a sphere at all?
No, because a 4D observer can see the past, present, and future simultaneously, right? So you wouldn't see a ball moving in a circle. You would see the planet's entire physical history.
From the very beginning.
From the moment it coalesced out of stellar dust, all the way to the very day it is eventually consumed by a dying star or destroyed.
Well,
that entire temporal journey exists all at once as this continuous, unmoving, glowing, spiraling tube.
a tube.
Yeah. In physics, this is referred to as a world line. It's a permanent, physical ribbon of existence that just stretches out through the time dimension.
A world line.
Yeah.
It makes me think of those long exposure photographs people take at night with a sparkler.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy, yeah.
Like the sparkler itself is just a single point of light in the present. But if you leave the camera shutter open long enough to capture the whole temporal event all at once, you don't see moving dot anymore.
You see the trail.
You see the entire bright, extended trail of light just hovering frozen in the air.
Yes.
And so that extended trail of light is what a planet actually is in 4D. We have to completely stop thinking of planetary orbits as these invisible paths that a sphere travels on and start seeing those orbits as the planet's actual physical extended 4D body.
And what's fascinating here is what happens when you apply that exact long exposure perspective to an entire system.
Oh, like the whole solar system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you look at the underlying mechanics holding it all together, if you take the entire solar system and view it in 360 degrees in 4D, you don't see separate planets floating in a void.
What do you see?
You see intertwined time worms.
Time worms. That sounds like sci-fi.
It does. But physically, the moon's world line is a spiraling time worm that wraps tightly around the Earth's time worm.
Okay.
And then the Earth's time worm is spiraling around the massive, much thicker time worm of the sun. And then the sun's time worm is spiraling around the center of the Milky Way.
Okay, when you visualize all of those luminous tubes just twisting and spiraling around each other like that, it looks exactly like a colossal cosmic DNA double helix.
It really does. It's a massive structural web.
But wait, what is actually weaving them together? Because in a 3D model, we say gravity is a force, right? It's pulling objects toward each other. But if everything in 4D is just frozen and unmoving, how does gravity work to bind this cosmic DNA?
Right, because nothing is pulling if nothing is moving. In the block universe, gravity isn't a pulling force at all. It is the geometric curvature of the 4D space itself.
Geometric curvature.
Yeah, so the massive time worm of the sun literally bends the physical topography of the 4D environment around it. It creates a valley. So the Earth's time worm isn't being pulled toward the sun, it is just resting in that deep geometric groove.
Oh, it's just following the shape of the floor.
Yes, it's following the natural structural curve of the block. Gravity is simply the structural tension, the architectural shape of the space-time fabric, which naturally twists these unmoving time worms into that intertwined DNA shape.
It's just geometry.
It is the geometry that holds the universe in place.
Okay, that actually brings up a massive logical paradox for me, though.
Let's hear it.
If we are just tiny 3D beings, totally stuck inside a single frame of this massive 4D film strip, how are we even able to perceive this whole thing?
Right, how do we know it's there?
Yeah, because a character inside a movie frame can't look out at the projector room. If our bodies are literally imprisoned in the 3D present, how do we know the rest of the unmoving film strip even exists?
Well, physically, you're right. Our biology is entirely imprisoned in that 3D slice. We cannot physically step outside the film strip to look down at it on the floor.
Right.
However, the sources emphasize that human intellect, our capacity for abstract mathematics and scientific deduction, that acts as a mechanism to break those biological chains.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, our physical eyes only see one frame, but our intellect has figured out how to deduce the unmoving film strip by reading the evidence left behind in our specific slice.
Because the film strip is already printed, nature's just holding on to these frozen pieces of the past for us to read.
Exactly.
Like when we dig up Earth's fossils or analyze the concentric rings inside a tree trunk or study those ancient air bubbles trapped deep under glaciers, we are literally holding physical chunks of previous frames of the film.
Yes, and it happens on a massive cosmic scale, too. Starlight is, it is the ultimate cosmic time machine.
How so?
When you look up at the night sky, you are capturing photons that left their stars thousands or even millions of years ago. You are not seeing the universe as it is right now.
Oh, right, because light takes time to travel.
Exactly. Your eyes are interacting with physical artifacts from previous frames of the universe's film strip.
And we use that same intellect to read the future frames, too.
We do.
By understanding the script of the movie, basically, which I guess are the deterministic laws of physics and causality, we can calculate exactly what the subsequent frames look like before we get to them.
It's all just math.
Yeah. We know with absolute down-to-the-minute precision when a solar eclipse will happen, like 300 years from now.
Or when we launch a rover to Mars.
Right, the Mars rover. We know the exact coordinates where it will land in 7 months. We aren't guessing. We're just using mathematics to read a frame of the 4D time worm that our 3D bodies just simply haven't physically reached yet.
And that mathematical certainty is what really proves the block universe theory has weight. If the future wasn't already mathematically fixed and physically there in the 4D structure, our calculations of orbital mechanics just wouldn't work with such flawless precision.
You know, if you are listening to this and feeling tiny or insignificant against this massive frozen universe, you really shouldn't. Think about how empowering this is.
It really is.
Your physical body might be bound to this one fleeting second, but your intellect has the power to basically shatter the illusion of time.
Mm-hmm.
You can mentally hold the past and the future at the exact same moment.
Which is an incredible feat for a 3D brain.
Truly. And if human intellect can piece this together through math, we must be building machines specifically designed to look for these frozen frames, right? Is that what the James Webb Space Telescope is actually doing up there?
It is the absolute pinnacle of that exact pursuit, but we do have to understand its physical limitations first.
Okay, what are they?
Well, JWST is still a machine built in our 3D world. It is an infrared camera that captures photons hitting its sensors at one specific frozen moment.
So it's still taking 3D pictures.
Exactly. It cannot snap a single impossible photograph of an entire 4D time worm from birth to death all at once.
It's bound to the same 3D slice that we are.
Yes. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, what JWST does achieve is capturing different isolated parts of the film strip scattered across the vastness of space.
Like reaching into different parts of the pile of film on the floor.
Perfect way to put it. It can look deep into one sector and capture the very beginning of the film, ancient primordial galaxies that existed 13.5 billion light years away.
The early frames.
Right. And then it can pivot and look at the young star system Beta Pictoris, observing planetary world lines that are just beginning to form. It hands us puzzle pieces from wildly different eras of the block universe.
But the sources demand that we completely shatter our old paradigms when we look at these pieces. Because if we view JWST's data strictly through a 4D lens, a lot of our cosmic mysteries turn out to just be optical illusions caused by our 3D bias.
Yes, the 3D bias is huge.
Like the evolution illusion.
Oh, this is a great example.
Right. Usually, astronomers look at an ancient blobby galaxy in a JWST image, and they say, well, over billions of years, this structure will grow and evolve and swirl into a complex spiral galaxy like our Milky Way.
But in a 40 block universe, there is no growing.
Because nothing moves.
Exactly. Evolution implies a change of state over time. But if time doesn't flow, that ancient galaxy and our modern Milky Way are not two different states of a changing object.
What are they then?
They are simply two different ends of the exact same unmoving cosmic ribbon.
Wow.
It is one solid structure stretching across space-time. You aren't watching a galaxy evolve. You are just looking at a wider section of its permanent, unchanging anatomy.
Just a ribbon. That completely flips how we have to think about things like dark matter too, doesn't it?
Oh, entirely.
Because cosmologists are constantly looking for this weird invisible fluid or some mysterious exotic particle to explain dark matter and dark energy. Because Galaxies shouldn't be able to hold their shape spinning as fast as they do.
The math doesn't add up in 3D.
Right, but if the universe is a solid 4D block, we shouldn't be looking for a fluid at all. The sources suggest that dark matter might just be the geometric tensions of the 4D structure itself.
Yeah, and to understand how geometric tension replaces the need for invisible particles, think about the structural engineering of an archway on a bridge.
Okay, an archway.
An arch holds its shape and supports all that massive weight, not because it is filled with some invisible glue.
Right, it's just physics.
It's the physical tension and compression of the stones pushing against each other. So if the 4D film strip is a giant frozen object, it requires structural integrity, so higher dimensional gravity doesn't just collapse it.
So it needs to support its own weight, basically.
Okay. Right. What our 3D instruments perceive as a mysterious dark matter holding galaxies together, it might just be the natural architectural load-bearing stress of that 4D geometry keeping the monument stable.
It's structural stress,
Yeah,
not a hidden particle.
exactly.
And viewing the universe this way also completely ends the idea of causality, right? Like the fundamental idea that event A causes event B.
It changes it completely.
Yeah, like if JWST photographs a supernova, a massive star exploding in 4D, that isn't an event that just happened as a reaction to the star running out of fuel. It is a fixed, permanent monument carved into the fabric of the universe.
It was always going to be there.
It has always been there, and it will always be there in that exact location on the map.
Which brings us to the most stunning visual proof we actually have of this entire concept.
Yes, the JWST images.
Right. If the universe really is a solid 4D structure, a tangible fabric of spacetime, we should be able to see its shape being physically warped. And JWST captured exactly that.
The Einstein's cross.
Such an amazing image.
For anyone who follows space news, you probably already know the basics of gravitational lensing. You have a massive cluster of galaxies sitting in the middle of a JWST image, and its gravity is so intense that it warps the fabric of space, actually bending the light of a single star that's located way, way behind it.
It acts like a lens.
Right. The light bends around the cluster in different directions, acting like a distorted magnifying glass, and it creates 4 or 5 phantom images of the exact same star arranged like a glowing cross.
It's beautiful.
We know how the physical light bending works, but what the JWST data forces us to realize is that this cluster isn't just warping light. It is literally warping time.
Yes. And to understand the mechanism of time folding here, we really have to look at the geometry of those bent light paths.
Okay, the paths the light takes.
Because the spacetime fabric is warped totally unevenly by that massive galaxy cluster, the 4 different paths that the starlight takes around it to reach our telescope are not identical in length.
Oh, because the warp is lumpy.
Exactly, it's lumpy. The path bending around the left side might be a relatively tight, short detour, but the path bending around the top might be a significantly longer route through that warped geometry.
And the most unbreakable rule of physics is that the speed of light is absolutely constant in a vacuum. It never slows down or speeds up to compensate for distance.
Therefore, if the speed of light is constant, but the physical paths it takes are entirely different lengths, the light traveling on the longer path is naturally going to take more time to arrive at JWST's sensors.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Mind-blowing, really.
Yes. If the light from the same star is arriving at different times simply because of the warped physical paths, that means those 4 images in Einstein's cross are mathematically not from the same time.
Nope.
The image taking the shortest path shows us the star's present. But the image that had to travel on a much longer detour around the gravity well is showing us light that left the star years earlier. We're literally looking at the star's past.
And we can verify this observationally, which is the crazy part.
Wait, really?
If you monitor that distant star, and one day its core collapses and it goes supernova, you won't see 4 simultaneous explosions in the cross.
Because the paths are different lengths.
Exactly. You will see the image on the shortest path explode today. Then, because the light on the longer detours is still traveling through the warped spacetime, you might wait 3 years to see the second image explode.
Oh my God.
And you might wait 10 years to see the third image explode.
All captured in the exact same photograph.
Yes.
It is a direct visual of the star's 4D time worm folding back on itself. The universe's geometry is so profoundly warped by that galaxy cluster that it allows us to see a single object's past, present, and future existing simultaneously right in front of our eyes.
It is the ultimate confirmation that time is spatial. You are literally looking at temporal coordinates stacked right next to each other in physical space.
That absolutely breaks my brain in the best possible way.
It's a lot to process.
It is. I mean, we started this journey by realizing that time isn't flowing at all. It's a solid block of film laid out on the floor. We reimagined planetary orbits not as invisible paths, but as glowing extended time worms twisting together through structural tension to form a cosmic DNA.
We covered a lot of ground.
And we saw how human intellect uses tools like JWST to read that unmoving map, culminating in literally looking at a single star's past and present at the exact same moment through the warped geometry of Einstein's cross.
And it is so crucial to internalize why all of this matters.
Yeah, why should we care?
Because this isn't just abstract astrophysics reserved for a whiteboard in some university. It fundamentally redefines your place in the universe.
Right.
If the 4D block universe is real, you are not a fleeting consciousness passing through a temporary present that vanishes forever. Your entire life, every joy, every struggle, every quiet moment is a prominent, fixed, cosmic sculpture. It is inextricably woven into the very fabric of reality, and it will remain there intact forever.
But, before we wrap up, we do have to address the existential dread we talked about earlier.
Ah, right, the free will problem.
Yeah. We established that under strictly 4D rules, the entire film strip is already printed. Every frame of your life is fixed as a monument, which definitely implies total determinism. You can't change a single frame. But the forces actually leave us with one final, deeply provocative mathematical loophole.
The 5D theory.
The 5D theory.
Yes, it is basically the conceptual escape hatch physicists use to rescue the concept of choice.
How does it work?
Well, if the fourth dimension represents a single, fixed timeline of everything that will happen, a rigid block, the fifth dimension would represent a probability space of all possible timelines.
Okay, so the 5D theory suggests that while a specific film strip is entirely pre-printed, there isn't just one strip.
Right, there are many.
There is an infinite library of alternate, fully printed film strips stacked right next to each other. So while you physically cannot change the frames on the specific strip you are currently experiencing, a fifth dimension might allow your consciousness to actively choose between different pre-printed alternate paths.
It reconciles free will inside a deterministic framework.
That is so elegant.
Right. The block is frozen, but which block you navigate might actually remain completely in your control.
Are we just passively riding a single glowing cosmic time worm from birth to death? Or do we, in some subtle, imperceptible way, have the power to jump laterally to a completely different one? Think about that tonight.
That's a thought to keep you up at night.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Next time you step outside, look up at the night sky. Don't just look at it as a vast empty space full of burning gas. Look at it as a vast frozen ocean of time. And remember, you are a permanent, unmoving part of it.